Hi there. In this video, we're going to be talking about third order determinants. So what is a third order determinant? So as the name suggests, it has 3 rows and 3 columns. We'll have column 1 made up of elements A1, A2, and A3. And then the second column would be B1, B2, B3. And then the third column is C1, C2, and C3. And this is a 3 by 3 determinant. So the question is, how do we go about evaluating a 3 by 3 determinant? So in order to do that, we have to find for each element something called the minor. So the minor is a quantity associated with each element of this determinant. And what it is actually a 2 by 2 determinant. And we get this 2 by 2 determinant by blocking out or omitting that row and that column of that element. For example, if we want to find the minor of element A1. So as I just explained, what we do is we block out column 1 and we block out row 1, and then we find the determinant of the elements that are left. And what's left when we block out column 1 and row 1? We have B2, C2, B3, and C3. So we form a determinant of B2, C2, B3, and C3. So now we want to find the minor of this element B1. So in order to find the minor of element B1, we have to block out column 2, since it's in the second column, and then it's in row 1, so we block out row 1. So we have to block out column 2, and we have to block out row 1. And when we do that, we have to write what's left. And what's left, if we block out row 1 and column 2, is A2, C2, A3, and C3. So the minor of B1 is A2, C2, A3, and C3. And we make a determinant out of that. And then lastly, we have to consider the minor of C1. So we now want the minor of C1. And we have to block out row 1 and column 3 because that's its position, row 1 and column 3. So we block out row 1 and column 3, and then we write what's left. And what's left is A2, B2, A3, and B3. So we have A2, B2, A3, and B3. And we find the determinant of that. So what does this now have to do with finding the determinant of this 3 by 3 system? So how we go about doing it is that we take A1, we multiply it by the minor of A1, then we take B1, we multiply it by the minor of B1, and we subtract it. And then lastly, we take C1, we multiply it by the minor of C1 and add it. So it's this first term subtracted this second term plus this third term. And that's all that there is to it. We substitute in all these elements of some kind of example that we are considering, and we have found this determinant of this 3 by 3 system. So we can just illustrate this procedure with a simple example. So we can just illustrate this procedure with a simple example. We can just put in some numbers into this determinant. So in the first row, we'll have 1, 3, 2, and then 4, 5, 7, and then 2, 4, and 8. And we now find this determinant by following that procedure. So how we do it is that we take this first element, which is 1, and then we multiply it by the minor of 1. And how we do it is that we block out row 1 and column 1 and then write what's left, which is 5, 7, 4, and 8. We have 5, 7, 4, and 8. Then we subtract Now 3, the element 3, and we write the minor of 3, which is blocking out row 1 and column 2, and writing what's left, which is 4, 7, 2, and 8. And then lastly, we take element 2, which is in row 1 and column 3, and then we multiply it by its minor, so which is 4, 5, 2, and 4. 4, 5, 2, and 4. And we now just evaluate this in the usual way. So we have element 1, then we multiply it by this determinant, 5, 7, 4, 8. So we have 5 times 8 multiplying out diagonally. So we have 5 times 8. Then we have minus 7 times 4. And we have minus 3 into 4 times 8 minus 7 times 2 and then lastly plus 2 into 4 times 4 minus 5 times 2. So we just evaluate this. It's a simple matter of just multiplying. So we have 1 and into 5 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. And minus 7 times 4, which is 28. Then we have minus 3 into 8 times 4, which is 32. And then minus 7 times 2, which is 14. Then we have plus 2 into 4 times 4, which is 16, and then 5 times 2, which is 10. So now 40 minus 28 is 12, so we have 1 times 12, which is 12. Then we have minus, then 32 minus 14 is 18, and 8, we have 3 times 18, and then plus 2 into 16 minus 10, which is 6, and then 2 times 6, which is 12. So 12 and 12 is 24. 24 minus 3 times 18, which is 54. That gives us minus 30. So this is the procedure as to how to go about evaluating a 3 by 3 determinant. So just one other point to make, and that is we have taken the element times the minor of just this first row. First row, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. So the point here is that we can take this procedure for any row or for any column. We just have to be cognizant of the signs. So we have to make a matrix of the signs that we are considering. So that is plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, and then plus, minus, plus. So this is this matrix of signs that we have to use. You can see that if we're taking the first row, we have to have the signs plus, minus, plus. And there we go. There's plus, there's minus, and there's plus. So if we were, for example, we wanted to find the determinant by going down this second column, then we would take 3 multiplied by the minor of 3, but we would have to have minus there. So we'd have to take minus 3 times this minor of 3. Then 5 would be a positive, and then we'd have to have minus 4 times this minor of 4. So it's the same thing with the second row, for instance. So we have 4, 5, 7, and we have minus, plus, minus. And we have to use the signs to evaluate the determinant in that specific way. So this is an overview of the procedure as to how to go about evaluating the determinant for a third order system. Thank you very much for watching.